That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of That Sounds Fun, The Seasons. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs. I am so happy to be with you today, back from Summer Sabbath and ready to party. Today on the show, we are answering the question, how do I identify seasons of my marriage? Oh, I cannot wait for y'all to hear this one. Today on the show, my friends Gabe and Rebekah Lyons are here. They've both been on the show separately, but this is their first time here together. We're going to dive into a conversation about the different seasons of marriage. This spring, they released their first book they've written together called The Fight for Us. So we're going to talk about how to define summer in your marriage, and their answer is actually pretty surprising. How to prepare for marriage, thank you very much, and how to approach conflict and the courage it takes through it all. Parents, I just want to give you a little mini BFF heads up. You may want to listen to this one on your own first as we get into some quote unquote adult married conversations. And if you're following along in your TSF Seasons Guidebook, we are on page 79. As always, the guidebook is available for you at anniefdowns.com/seasons. Okay, here's my conversation with my friends, Gabe and Rebekah Lyons.
That sounds fun.
Okay, you guys, as I told you when you sat down, I don't know a lot of people who get to read a book that talks about their friends having sex. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Sorry about that.
It's new for me to read that. No, I loved it. I think I'm so happy that y'all would come and do That Sounds Fun, because The Fight for Us is such a gift of a book for those of us who want to be married, because it feels like I'm getting some cheat codes. And for our friends who are already married, it feels really helpful. We're in the summer is the season we are in. Will you talk a little bit about what does a summer of marriage feel like? How do you know if you're married right now? How do you know if your marriage is in a summer?
You know, the data shows that summer's when most people start searching for marriage help, or also
Really?
divorce attorneys. So yeah,
Why?
summer's
Okay,
this moment.
we have a theory on this. Yes.
Yeah, summer's when everybody's back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When there's more free time, there's
Yeah.
more margin.
Yeah.
And it's also where the friction starts to happen so much more. You're dealing with kids
Interesting.
all
Yeah.
the time. Your escapes maybe that you were using
Yes.
during a typical
Yeah.
busy
Yeah.
season, maybe they've gone away.
Yeah.
You're on a vacation. It's just you guys. So some of the things that you could cover up start to
When everything's
get
busy, when
revealed.
there's
Yeah.
football games or baseball games
Yeah.
or hard work with no time for vacation.
Summer could be a little like a mini COVID, right? So you have an interruption of the production cycle,
Yes.
right? You know, everyone's got a little more margin. It could be really fun and playful. And you can kind of busy yourself that way. But it does sometimes with kids home, it does bring new layers of stress. You don't have school you can count on every day for a set amount of time. You have to figure out camps and doing different things, or you're just hanging out a lot. And sometimes those things are surface
Yeah.
that normally you can avoid or kind of dust under the rug out of the name of like work
Yeah.
and schedule and
Yeah.
travel and all those things. So I thought we were fascinated when we found that out. We're like, so marriage, it was marriage counseling, marriage help, just like, it was almost like they were like, hey, we feel like we needed a tune-up. And it took summer of us like looking at each other and getting on each other's nerves a little bit, because we were around each other a little bit more, to go like, maybe all is not well and we should probably dig in a little
Summer
bit.
doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't
It
have
doesn't
to
have to
be.
be bad.
I know. What are y'all are just telling all these married people who feel stressed. Like, I thought summer was supposed to be awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not. What
Yeah.
a gift y'all are offering of like, no, the normal thing
Yeah.
is it's harder now.
The amount of fights we have had on family vacations.
Yeah.
Because you're
true.
corralling kids in different
Yeah.
cities, countries sometimes,
Yes.
different schedules, time zones. And then you're all in a confined space in a hotel room or
Yeah.
maybe two adjoining or something. All of a sudden you're on each other's toes,
But
right?
summer does give you the chance. The redemptive side of summer is because you're slowing, you can be very intentional with the time. You can start to have deeper conversations. You can probe into some areas that in the busyness, you never would touch them because you
Yes.
don't have enough time to sit on the porch or sit by a
have the
pool
margin.
and have a conversation. So our encouragement is
Yeah.
for couples to talk. If you're not talking, you're not healing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so use the summer to create space for more conversation that's
Yeah.
intentional.
Wow.
And I think a lot of us do come into summer with high expectations. Like this summer has to make up for the last 10 months of me being tired.
Right.
And
I mean,
so-
everyone does that to
right.
vacation.
So there's an
Married or single, yeah.
idealism that goes into it.
Yes,
Like it's
that's
going to be
good, Reed.
perfect. And then, I always start things really strong in summer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then come, 6 weeks in, we're like, yeah, camp mom is tired.
Yeah.
And let's all just put a movie on,
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I think that there is a little disillusionment that like all should be perfect. And we put some pressure on summer. And the reality is we're still humans that like want our own way sometimes. We want to just relax. We don't want to be productive. And so that comes out.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really interesting for y'all to talk about summer that way. Very often we think this is the best time of the year. So a married couple is listening. The wife is listening and the husband's in the bathroom. This is what I hear 8 times out of 10 at an event is, hey, Annie, I just brought my wife to VIP because I hear your voice every day, but we're both here together. So they're both listening right now. And they are having that awkward moment of like, we don't want to say to each other that this is us. That this hasn't been the best season. What's the first step? Tell me what happens. I'm not married yet, so I don't know what happens in a bathroom when 2 people are getting ready and have an awkward moment where someone needs to say something.
I think it's honestly the transitions. Even summer is a little hard when our kids come home from college. Everyone's been living an independent life in another state, and then they come back in and they're under our roof, and then we're like, wait, you're kind of cramping. We cried when you left, and now we're a little bit like, now that you're back. Now we love you, we want you, but it's like the reentry is a little tricky with summer, I think, and it's like, I think the transitions, like we have learned through this book, is that they always invite opportunity for conflict because the transitions are usually like, oh, we're going to a new thing. We're kind of in the in-between. And about a month in, you find your rhythm often, but you've got to work through it. Like, what are the differences? And so if there is conflict in the summer or at the entree to any season, launching kids coming back home, work changes, whatever that is, there's a little shifting sand that makes you both a little uneasy. And that comes out sideways often and just like, well, my insecurity or my fear below all that is this, but I didn't have to face that until now it's coming out sideways.
So Gabe, when y'all are having that conversation, or when you're both feeling that, that there's something coming out sideways, does someone just have to be brave and go first?
Well, yes. But I also think we've learned, not the first few years of marriage, but now that we're a bit seasoned,
26?
Yeah, 28th year.
28.
And what we do is essentially say, can we talk about this a little bit later today, or at a moment when we're not in the transition, or we're not in the bathroom getting ready to leave for the day?
Yeah.
It's not a high tense moment. We're not in the middle of a fight, but something's affected us, or we're weighed down by something, burdened by something. The ability to just say, hey, we're going to talk about that. Like, we're not going to just live with that. It's not okay. Or some comment that was made the night before. I think what we've learned to do is try to address it if in a moment where we've got space. Because these quick movements, driving in the car, quickly on the phone, you can't really get into the roots of what was going on.
Can't unpack it.
You can quickly make up. You can say, I'm sorry. You can apologize for how you reacted. But you need a little more time. I mean, I would say at least 15 minutes, okay? That's not a lot of time, but you need 15 minutes.
I mean, 15 minutes is a lot of time when you're like, I got to tell you something I'm insecure about.
That's
scary.
It can. But at least you've set it up. You've kind of created a safe space in advance to go like, we're going to have a moment where we're going to unpack this, because sometimes we're not sure and we need a moment to verbally even process what's going on.
You're not sure about what's happening inside of you.
Yeah,
you're like, I can tell.
I'm like, I'm off. Funny. I'm being rude. I'm
Yes.
frustrated at you and I don't even know why. Or I'm teary and I don't know why. Maybe it's that time of the month. I don't even know. But there is some times where we have to at least own that we recognize that we're not being rational people.
Yes.
But then we're not sure why, and we do need to revisit and go, hey, maybe it's time with God for a minute and be like, what's going on? And then unpacking it with one another.
I usually need more time, I find, than
To
Rebekah.
think.
I find women in general tend to just be a little more in touch with what's happening. It's not totally
Internally.
stereotypical, but seem to just be a little more connected to what's happening relationally. And I know for me, sometimes I don't know why I'm feeling a certain way, and I need a little bit of time to really reflect and be like, now why did I say that? Or why am I feeling this way? And when I can have a little bit of time, I can enter a conversation and it's more helpful, for Rebekah, who's curious, like what's going on there? We talk a lot in our book about our origin stories. I mean, those are long conversations to dig into how you became the person you became and how you feel about each other and relationships and conflict and emotions. We all come into marriage with a different style, a different system that we just thought was normal. And those two things come into conflict. And you need a little space and curiosity to better understand where one another's coming from.
You talk about in the book, when you started your podcast, that y'all went through this season where you didn't realize you were kind of being pushed by opposing forces to kind of get almost like dulled to what was going on. And that then you had to go, hang on. Wait, what are we doing? What's happening here? Let's pay attention to this. So for our friends listening who are married that are like, oh, we haven't fought in 3 months. We haven't had a disagreement. Am I just dull? How do we know the season? Like in our own bodies, in our own, your two have become one, but you're still Gabe and Rebekah.
Yeah, sure.
How do you know in those moments, we're not in a season of fighting. I'm in a season where I've like withdrawn.
And I think that's the question. It's great if you're not fighting, if you're in sync and you're kind of reading each other and you're in a good rhythm. But if you're not fighting because you're not talking or you're not being vulnerable anymore, you're kind of withdrawing, then there is a hurt usually. When we talk about the dysfunctional dance in the book, the silent, intense, avoidant, and anxious are the 4 dominant ways. That silent one is always triggered by hurt. And then over time, or the avoidant is triggered by guilt. Like, I can't be enough for this person. They're always kind of complaining or they're unhappy and I'm trying to fix. And then you're just trying to be pleasant, but you're not really going. So if you're not, the bigger question is if there's not an intimacy that's being shared vulnerably, in conversations, or obviously maybe if you're not even physically vulnerable or intimate, then that's a drift. That's not like a lull, that's a drift because somehow along the way someone has been hurt and that hurt was never resolved because it either wasn't voiced and then it wasn't expressed or forgiven or repented from.
Yeah.
And then it's just starts to become this slow drift over time because you'd rather not rock the boat. Like if you're an avoidant person,
Right.
you're like, I can't handle the drama.
Yeah, I don't have time. We got so much going on and the kids I just don't have time.
Yeah.
Like, forget it.
So we'll just glaze over it and then we'll keep going and we'll be happy and we're not fighting, but we're not connected.
Wow.
We aren't emotionally tethered.
Yeah.
And that is a warning. And often it does require one of you, whoever's the more willing one, to just start the conversation, go, like, we both have done this in seasons where we both have travel or work kind of where I go, I feel distant.
Yeah.
I just feel distant. And I don't think it's intentional on either of our parts, but we're both like head down. We have a little less like bandwidth for one another, maybe a little less grace for one another.
Yeah.
There could be these tiny little resentments that might be triggered, that aren't really a thing, but they become a thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't address that sooner than later, it will grow.
Yeah. It's one of the things I feel jealous of my friends who got married younger is, I use jealous loosely, not like I lay in bed at night and I'm like, oh. But, I think a thing y'all have gotten to practice and my friends who are married that got younger got to practice is little resentments don't build up in you. But it doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
Right.
In my life, I don't have any reason to get those out. In friendships, in relationships, it's no big deal. I have no reason to fight those out.
That's right.
Or so I have to. I mean, my coworkers, some of my closest friends, y'all end up dealing with the stuff of my personal growth that a spouse would deal with.
Yes.
On a day, because I'm still trying to not hold resentment, but I don't have to practice it.
Well,
I don't
and
have to practice any of that.
You can't hide in a marriage.
And
like
I can.
It becomes glaringly obvious in a marriage
Interesting.
that you can cut the silence with a knife. That silent treatment is a killer. It can be a killer. And you'll find people who never fought once for 20 years and then walked away from each other with no real apathy, kind of because they lost love. And so in the intense dance, we joke because we both score the intense dance in the quiz. And we're like, the advantage to being intense is that you care enough to keep fighting.
That's right. You're still in it. Yeah.
You're still swinging.
That's playing out in every part, the good and the bad. Yeah, that's
for
right.
better, for worse.
Yeah, but they say when men get quiet, many times it's to just kind of keep the tone down, make sure they're able to engage well with their wife and have a conversation. But when women start to get quiet, there's a chance their heart's turning off.
Yeah.
And once a woman's heart turns off to her husband, getting that to recover is very difficult.
Yeah.
And so women they can't not care for the relationship.
Yeah.
Probably more so than even men. They're
Okay,
just striving for it.
Gabe, talk to the women who have turned their hearts off. Is it hers to turn back on?
Well, each of us has to take responsibility for whether, the heart can turn off for some reasons. I mean, some we could say they're valid reasons. I haven't been cared for. I haven't been pursued. I think a lot of women feel that sometimes from their husband. But we also have to understand there's an enemy at work in the relationship that's constantly making accusation against your spouse. And this is husband or wife, and trying to get you to agree with it. And when we start to agree with the accusation, like, my husband doesn't care for me. He doesn't have time for me. He doesn't come home at the time he told me he was going to be. So therefore, I don't know that he's really committed to me. Or I don't know that he'll ever be able to connect with me because he doesn't seem to get it when I tell him I don't feel connected. You could at any moment make the decision to agree with that and say, this is what it is. This will be our future, and resign.
Yeah.
And I think for every person listening, don't do that. Don't resign. That's the enemy's goal, is for you to walk away and believe it's not going to get better.
Yes.
But Rebekah and I are here to tell you, in our own story, there were so many times she could have done that with me and said, you just don't get me. I'm kind of done.
Man,
And
the
she
story
didn't.
of when he was, after you left John Maxwell and was building new things.
Yeah.
That feels like one of those moments where you could have been like, can you please go get a job? Like, help us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rebekah, why does the enemy care about marriages like this? Why is he after this?
Well, it's because it's got how God established humanity, this kind of covenant that would then have a generational line that would love and fear God. It is a sign of just like how civilization was created and what it was for, and it was meant to be intended that there would be some trouble. Isn't it crazy? Right? That even if the curse was like, I'll put enmity between your seed and his seed, and this idea that there would be pain in childbirth and toil and hard labor, and yes, that's redeemed by Christ, but there's still this version of pain that we all encounter because we're two people desperate need of a savior that still have to live like side by side and face to face, and we can't hide. And so you can put on your best foot forward, your best first impression for a while, but not in marriage. Like, you just can't hide it.
Yeah, you just have to wake up next to each other.
Yeah,
it's like
and then you have the choice to go, like, I see your worst parts, and I could either leverage and use those against you and condemn you, but then all of a sudden you see mine too. And so all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait, this is actually a neutral playing field. And we can either curse, all the things that we can't stand about one another, or we can go, well, God gave us each other to kind of be this redemptive work, this pruning in our life, this humbling thing that hopefully we can be refined and purified over a long, long time.
Yes.
But it takes a willingness to do that. And I think a lot of women turn their heart off because they have been hurt, and that hurt has not been expressed in a way that was received or listened to by the husband, or he might dismiss it because he doesn't understand it. But inside, often the men are very intimidated and scared and they don't even know what to do, right? Because if they try, it's said wrong. So there's a lot of like misunderstanding that's happening, or expectations, even in what those needs really are.
Sure.
And so over time, women stop, and John Gottman calls it stonewalling, like they just shut down. And it's really dangerous because for women, it's against a woman's nature to not care or turn her heart off. Women just care about everything. They can't not care, and yet men will do it, like you said, to de-escalate. So it's noble. It's noble for men to like, I don't want to create more conflict. But for women, I think there is this danger of going, I can't trust him with my heart because I feel like I have extended that in the past and it was dismissed. And so there's a call to both. There's a call to men to own, like Gabe had a season where he felt godly sorrow for some of the ways he wasn't able to kind of resonate with me emotionally, but that wasn't because he wasn't trying. He didn't have the tools. Yeah. And so for the women, I want to go like, have some grace. Like a lot of these men were dismissed of emotion when they were kids. Like the generation before us, they were raised from parents in the silent generation. Like nobody talked about mental health. They were like putting food on the table.
Particularly for men.
Yes. So it's like give them, let's give each other the chance to relearn and rediscover how to express ourselves, how to read and discern what we're feeling inside so that we can have grace for each other.
That sounds fun.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation. Tell you about one of our incredible partners, Our Place. Listen, who doesn't love making life a little simpler and a lot more beautiful? And let me tell you, their cookware, it is doing both. First of all, it's adorable. We're talking colors that actually make you excited to cook, which is saying a lot for me, you guys. You know this. But it's not just pretty. These pans are nonstick, super easy to clean, and free of all those scary forever chemicals that we do not want anywhere near our food. So as you're doing that summer refresh, the closets, the kitchen, it might be time to retire those old pans and treat yourself. Their cookware set, it is dreamy, and you save $150 when you bundle it. If you want your scrambled eggs to slide right off the pan without any toxins coming along, their pan needs to be your go-to. I love it. Stop cooking with toxic cookware and upgrade to Our Place today. Visit FromOurPlace.com/TSF and use the code TSF for 10% off site-wide. With a 100-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and returns, you can experience this game-changing cookware with zero risk. And I have another incredible partner to tell you about. I don't drink coffee, you'll know, but I do drink tea. And so my morning routines start with making some tea. And while it steeps, I mix up my AG1 and I crush that. It's 1 scoop shaken up in really cold water. And I'm getting vitamins, minerals, all the good for you stuff without having to take like 12 pills. I don't even have to think about it. It's just become part of the rhythm of my morning. And it makes me feel so much better throughout the day. More energy, more focus, and just that sense that my body's like, hey, thanks for that. They also have these really great travel packs, so I just throw those in my bag whenever I'm headed out of town. Start giving your body the nutrients it deserves. Just head to our link, drinkag1.com/soundsfun, and you can subscribe for less than $3 a day. If you use our link, it really helps the show, but you also get a free welcome kit with a shaker bottle and 5 AG1 travel packs and more with your first purchase. So make sure you check out drinkag1.com/soundsfun. Okay, now back to our conversation with Gabe and Rebekah.
That sounds fun.
I'm going to say a sentence, agree or disagree. It sounds like marriage takes a ton of courage.
Yeah.
You just have to
Agreed.
show up every day
Yeah.
and see
Yeah.
each other.
And humble yourself constantly.
And I think young couples get discouraged because they don't realize it's a fight.
Yeah.
You know, you think I'm
But it's
getting
great
married
too, right?
It's
I mean, but it's just
amazing.
both.
No, it is amazing, but it's amazing in the same way when you live a disciplined life. You know, you experience the fruit of a disciplined life. Well, it'd be more fun not to be disciplined.
Yeah, that's right.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
For a
that's
season.
right.
Yeah,
I'd
for a
rather
season,
not
but-
work out, but I like that I can lift my suitcase up and
that's
down my
right.
stairs.
You know,
Yes.
so I think the fruit of it is amazing. It's beautiful to share your life with one person that truly knows you better than anyone else, knows your dreams, knows your weaknesses, is willing to come alongside and lift you up in those moments of discouragement or call you to something more that they see you not stepping into.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But I think young couples get discouraged because they think they had a fight this week and therefore I married the wrong person. I mean, this is one of the myths that you didn't find your soulmate because now there's some conflict.
Yeah, that's right.
And-
There was one. You have one person that God had meant for you, and you picked the wrong one.
And so
and God let you get all the way
Yeah.
to the altar and get in 3 years.
yeah,
and then
and you're
he
like,
tells you,
oopsie.
Yeah.
So I think we've just learned that, look, we believe there's multiple right people for someone. And that when you get into
I
that
think that too.
relationship, you become a better human, and God uses the person that's in your life to continue to sand off those hard edges and to cultivate the best of who you are.
Yeah.
But it is work, and don't be discouraged because there's a beautiful moment coming tomorrow, the next day, next year, 10 years from now. You might go through dips and valleys, but it's worth it. And I think that's because that's what God's design was, is he wanted us to experience that kind of depth of relationship.
We all talk to our divorced friends for a second. I just want to let's give some hope to our divorced friends. I like you saying I think there's multiple options for someone.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, as an unmarried yet person, I'm like, there are people I could have married. It's not that there was no one I could have married. It just didn't feel right, or I wasn't ready, or they were whatever. Our divorced friends have married someone and now they are not married anymore.
Yeah.
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 What's the hope for what God might, if they are desiring marriage again, what's the hope there?
Well, it's partly going back to like what are the things that drove that marriage apart, right? And then what do both parties take responsibility for? And so, male or female, what is the work that they're doing? You know,
Yes.
even in their own life, what is the growth and the learning that they're having? It takes two people to have conflict. It
Yes.
takes two people to repair. You know, and I think the beauty of like that examining the heart. Sometimes it is easy to go like, I was just unhealthy in this relationship, but in a new relationship, what part of you still wants to heal more, needs to heal more? There is more room to grow. Even as a mom, like I think about every kid, like I've definitely failed this season of mothering and that particular child for those few years. But then now what I've learned coming through that, I had a lot to learn too, right?
Yeah.
And so I think anything that's unhealed in old relationships, and we've heard this from the beginning, if it is not repaired on our side, our ownership, we will just bring ourselves into the next one. We will
Yes.
find a new version, a new expression of dysfunction in the new one. So make the most of this opportunity to go, okay, Lord, what is the deep soul work
Yep.
that you'll do in me,
Yep.
in this season, especially on the other side of marriage, outside of divorce.
Yeah, and don't buy the don't become the victim. No matter what the circumstances were for the divorce, know that there's areas you can grow in. And this is the same advice
Hold what
we'd
is
give.
yours to hold.
Yeah, and we'd give this advice to a young couple dating and say, look for a spouse that's willing to always learn. And they're humble enough to know they don't have it all figured out. They're not perfect. And I think that applies to each of us, even in marriage, but especially after a divorce, is to go, how did I contribute to that? And what is the areas that's being revealed to me for my growth? And not to take kind of the easy way out of it was my spouse is the reason we're divorced. I had nothing to do with it.
But I also want to address those who are products of an unwanted divorce, and they really had no say in how it went down, and it was maybe a violation against them even while they were married, and whatever the reasons are, and there's still a lot of grief attached to that. Like, my encouragement to that part of that healing for that person is forgiveness. And that forgiveness is not easy. I am not being casual about this, especially if it was something that was just so traumatic and so hurtful, for whatever that infidelity might look like, or whatever the betrayal might look like, or the abandonment, you name it.
Right.
The forgiveness still that comes only from Christ is essential for the healing. So that at some point, someone once said that, like, true forgiveness, that an old man said this to me, true forgiveness is down the road, like, you'll stop telling that story.
Oh, wow.
Like, there's like almost a blessing attached to the person, not in your power, but like Christ, like, they're yours. We know you love them more than I. Like, go and let God. But then also, like, I'm not going to keep rehearsing what they did and what that has meant for me.
Yeah.
It is part of your story in the past, but it does not define where you are now or where you're going or what your future looks like.
Yes.
And so my prayer is for healing and redemption, even when you have been deeply wounded.
Talk to our friends who aren't married yet, that desire it. There is one of the things y'all talk about in the book is the buckets you bring into marriage. Yeah. That's like your hobbies and how you grew up and your origin story, but it's also your wounding and your concerns and your pain, your insecurities. Talk to our single friends a little bit. I was saying to y'all before we started, like, I am aware that I have spent a lot of energy and money. I've probably bought my counselor a boat to try to be as healthy as possible for hopefully getting to be married at some point and to bring in the best Annie possible into a marriage. I cannot fully clean. I can't do all that work because some of it you have to have the friction to get the work done. Will you talk to our unmarried friends for a second and just kind of like, what advice are you giving single people right now of all ages? Because we have a lot of friends listening that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s that want to be married. What's advice for us as we are looking to get married? How do we prepare for this? What do we do?
I would say, this just came as you were speaking, don't get so stuck in your way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's so easy to build a life that is so completely catered to what you love and what you desire and how you want to live. And then inevitably, you might meet someone who has a little different life and their way and their desire. And everything about marriage is compromise. And so I would just say, remain nimble. Like, yes, build a life you love and flourish in it completely. But knowing that when God brings that person it will still bring out the best in you and require you to sacrifice some stuff at the same time. But always, you're going to have both of those things. So just be mindful that you can be nimble and be flexible because especially if kids come in, there's always this like revisiting of like, oh, who am I outside of this? Oh yeah, I forgot who she was. But I think it's healthy and important to be nimble, flexible, while you're still thriving exactly where you are.
But Annie, what you've done to do work, to emotional work, to know your story, to know what triggers you and why, and to better understand yourself when you kind of know thyself. When you enter into a marriage, you're so much more prepared to engage these deep conversations. I don't know, for us, we entered marriage without any of that. And it took a lot of years. And we probably wasted a lot of time in our marriage not understanding one another because I didn't know who I was.
I mean,
and so the gift of singleness is if you take advantage of it, is you can really get to know who you are. And then maybe you get married later in life, but maybe the marriage is just so incredible and rich and fulfilling right from the get-go.
That's right.
And I think that's cool. And we talk about these buckets because sometimes couples as well come into marriage and they have such great personalities. They're doing all these things. They have hobbies. They love music. They love going to concerts. They love baking, whatever it might be. and then they get married and sort of become, a wife and a mother or just a father and a career person, and you kind of lose part of yourself. And I think the gift, again, of being single is you really can get to know the things you love, your hobbies, so that when you enter marriage, you can even say to that potential partner, hey, I love to play golf. Like, I'd love for that to just be in the rhythm somewhere. Can we talk about how that would work in our life?
Yeah.
Or I really need quiet time alone. I love solitude. Can I once a quarter get away for a couple days and that not be offensive to you or think I don't want to be around you? So the more you know thyself, the more you understand who you are, I think you enter a marriage and you more quickly find deep connection. Whereas some of us who got married young, it maybe took a while.
Oh, it did. I think, Annie, in the 10 years plus being your friend, I have watched you grow so much in your emotional, capability of just recognizing, naming, and noticing and naming. You do that in friendship. You do that. You do that with us. And man, I did not have those skills at all when we got married and sometimes you can kind of get sidelined with the caregiving of whatever's right in front of you that you're like, we'll get to emotional health at some point.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your marriage is like on the rocks and you're like, oh, okay, it's not optional now.
Yes.
So the proactive nature of what you've done and what you're even doing in this community through the podcast, I think it is beautiful. It's examining the heart. It's getting below the surface, letting the Holy Spirit illuminate what he wants to heal.
Yeah. I think there's this misbelief in single people that I can do enough and get healthy enough that then God will bring me a spouse. And that's just not not God's character. That's not how he works. You don't have to earn any gifts from him. They're all called gifts. But there is run as hard as you can, being as healthy as you can, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, for whatever God has for you.
Yeah. And that's
right?
just
I mean, that's true for
stewardship.
y'all too, right? For married people. It is no different.
Yeah.
Gabe, will you talk a little bit about the research about getting married young?
Yeah. There's been a bit of a pendulum swing is starting to happen where people are looking to get married young. But these last few decades, we've seen marriage continue to push later in life. And I think everybody understands that now, which is changing child rearing and bearing years.
Changing Social
fertility.
Security.
A lot of things are changing with that. There's certainly a pendulum shift back to people saying, hey, I want to get married younger. Like, I just want to start where I'm at with my person and learn together and grow together and not have all of the money figured out, all the career figured out. There's a great sociologist, Dr. Brad Wilcox out of UVA, who wrote a great book called Get Married. I would recommend this to people because it's more of a data look at marriage and what marriage over time does for you economically, fulfillment, your meaning and purpose, your happiness, your faith life. There's all these things that social science is showing are the benefits to society and to your life of marriage. And the sooner you start with that, it's not suggesting, hey, you should just get married to the first person you date.
That's right.
But it's also saying, don't be scared and believe the lie, this myth that I have to have the career figured out.
Yes.
I have to be earning enough income.
Yes.
Because even when you get married, you'll do the same thing. I can't have that child till we're at this certain place. And I think we've just learned enough in life that God tends to provide the provision when we step forward in faith and don't let some of those more natural thinking ideas stand in the way of maybe something that you're clear he's drawing you towards. Don't be scared, because we've had some friends not get married because there was fear there. And the fear kept them from taking the commitment step in a world that says, hey, you've got options, and there's always going to be options. And maybe if you just wait a little longer, and I've got friends now that aren't married and they're in their 50s and they still look back to that girl they dated in their 20s and said, man, I wish I would have had the courage to take the step. And so I'd hate for people to not take the step because they're just a little scared that the unknown's going to bring some areas of uncertainty, and that's just normal. It's okay.
That's life,
And part of what we can do, y'all did get married young, but you're married now. I did not get married young, but we get to carry a posture that says when a young person gets engaged, we cheer for that. We don't roll our eyes. I think that's one of the things the church is doing wrong is we're not even saying to when 23-year-olds get engaged, we're not going, yeah, good, go for it. We're going, are you sure? They are so young. Oh my gosh, they're so young. And you're like, no, y'all had kids at 20. No, there is a different posture we can take as the church that says we are for y'all getting married right now. We believe you can build a life together. Let us help you and walk with you.
I think if a kid's 20, 22, and they're ready to take full responsibility of their livelihood and support someone else, and work a couple jobs and like get through school, I'm like, more power
Let
to
'em.
you. The
Yeah.
fact that you have the faith and the belief to
Yes.
try,
Yes.
I mean, that's massive.
Yes.
I mean, that's so countercultural at this point.
Right.
So yeah, step out. I mean, if you've got God at the helm, you have godly heritage, or at least you've got godly counsel in your life that you're
Yes.
willing to go ask anything and they're
Yes.
cool with that, then learn together. You know, I think it's great, you know.
Yeah. One of my first dating questions is like, so who's your mentor? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to know that you aren't leading me without a leader.
Yeah.
And so
it's good.
I care a lot about who you are listening to.
Right.
And so even if they don't have if they don't have parents that
Sure.
they can look at and go, I want that marriage, can you talk to your pastor? Can you talk to your mentor or
Yeah.
counselor and have someone speaking in? A concept y'all talked about, this made me teary when I read the book, a wholehearted marriage. And you just kind of like trace through it the whole time. Will y'all describe a wholehearted marriage? Like I can't imagine a married person listening who isn't like, that's the goal. I want a wholehearted marriage. What does
Yeah.
that actually, put some descriptors around it?
Well, I'm going to tear up just talking about it. I think
know.
it's like
we have tissues for that.
woo. I think it's all in. You know, we grew up where everyone stayed married to covenant, and that's noble, and that's as God desires. Like that's good. But so much of it can be tempted to be just siloed into duty and responsibility, and you lose intimacy, you lose connection, you lose fun, you lose play, you lose just kind of a sense of the vitality that you need as a human to thrive. And I think I got to a point with us a few years back where I was like, oh, we're starting to take that two roads diverged in a wood, and one is delight and one is duty.
Wow.
And I'm feeling like duty is starting to win, and we're just getting through this.
Wow.
And we're not going to walk, but we don't really like each other, and we're a little begrudging of like all the crap we have to do every day.
Yes.
Not just for each other, but for our two special needs kids. Like I could just see there was a hardening that was beginning in me. It is what it is. And then slowly drifts to, I don't think I can do this, which isn't real, but it's still kind of a intrusive thought. And I just finally was like, babe, if we're going to kind of like not handle like hard conversations or not feel safe to be honest with one another, or not even want to like go to bed at the same time so we can avoid having sex, then I don't want this kind of a marriage. Like I want to be all in. If we're going to do this and we're going to grow old together, I want to like love you more next year than I ever have, not like just get through it. And so I think a lifeless marriage is miserable because you are so alone while you're still in a relationship.
Yeah. There are worse things than being lonely and single.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because you're laying next to this person at night and you're like a world apart.
Yes.
And you can't even break the silence because you're too scared, or you're just too tired, or you're too weary, or you're too defeated.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both had seasons of both just being defeated. Like, I know I need to say something, but like it's just going to turn into 3 hours. None of us want that. We're too tired and old.
Wow.
But truly just asking God to resurrect, like not like shift and like help us cope, but like resurrect, give this a new life.
Wow.
Give this a new freedom, a new expression. And we had to get pretty death. Like death always precedes resurrection. So we had to let the old marriage die. And then we had to go like, how do we see each other the way God sees each other? How do we find the Gabe I fell in love with as a college student, right? In those youthful days where we just shared everything and we dreamed and we laughed. And like, if we can't figure out how to do that in our 50s, like this is going to be really lame.
Yeah.
So wholehearted to me means like, we're just going to keep fighting for the fullness of what is possible, not just find ways to like put in systems to help it cope.
Wow. Not just systems. Gabe, what are your thoughts on
It's
wholehearted?
bringing your whole self into the marriage and not holding anything back. I mean, that's how you live full-hearted and wholehearted. And I think for, like Rebekah described, there's seasons where, I would withhold part of who I was. I might release it at work or with some guy friends or whatever, but it didn't always feel like in the space of our own home or in our relationship with just dynamics or different things that we were responsible for, that you could bring your whole self to it. It's like save some of it for somewhere else, because I don't know if it's going to be received here. I don't know if it's going to be enjoyed here. And I think for Rebekah and I, the breakthroughs of starting to really celebrate one another's strengths, starting to see the uniquenesses in who we are, who God's designed us to be. I think getting this view of one another through the lens of God created Rebekah as this beautiful woman, whether she's my wife or not. She's got amazing gifts, talent. She's wonderful. She has all these different strengths. Yes, there's some weaknesses, some challenges, but she has all of this.
Yeah.
And it's part of the gift that I have to see that drawn out and to celebrate that and to lift that up and to encourage it. And so I think for both of us, we've turned towards that type of relationship, which has now allowed both of us to feel very free in who we are, realize we're two different people, realize we have different ways of dealing with pressure, information, how we're going to lead people even. Like we just do things differently, but we celebrate it. Whereas before it was a bit of a threat. It was like, I need to conquer you. You need to do it the way I do it, or you're doing it wrong. And when we finally could separate that the differences weren't always moral differences, they were just preference differences. And we could get clear on that. We started to celebrate, I think, more the uniqueness of each of us. And that's allowed us to feel more wholehearted and be ourselves in the marriage.
I mean, I remember a couple phrases we would tell each other, and it almost catches us off guard, where he's like, I feel like I can like be totally myself with you. You know, like that seems like it should be like a no-brainer.
Right.
But I think over time, sometimes you can just start to like edit with one another, just like you can with a stranger, or you can with your team, or you can in a friendship. If there's been a little bit of a, like you extended yourself, and it was not recognized or not acknowledged or received, then you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is safe here. And I would just say it's getting back to that place of complete safety where you don't withhold any emotion, high or low, and there's no secrets. You're not afraid to even say like, oh, I had an intrusive thought that was kind of weird. I want to share it with you. I don't even want to have any secrets. And knowing there's no condemnation, there's always invitation back to relationship.
Yes.
That sounds fun.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation one more time to tell you about one of our incredible partners, Hiya Health. I know the summer means lots more ice cream and popsicles, so getting your kids to take their vitamins may be a little harder, but this is why we love Hiya Health. They've got the pediatrician-approved chewable vitamin that my miniBFFs love, but it doesn't have all the gummy junk or sugar. My nephew Sammy gives them a big thumbs up. In fact, he gave them 16 thumbs up, you guys. Hiya also now has that new Kids Daily Greens and Superfoods, which is a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids and packed with 55-plus whole food ingredients. You just scoop it out, shake it up with milk or any non-dairy beverage, and your kids get a delicious and nutritious boost. We've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamins. You guys get 50% off your first order. So to claim this deal, you got to go to hiyahealth.com/thatsoundsfun. Go to hiyahealth.com/thatsoundsfun and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. And now back to finish up our conversation with Gabe and Rebekah.
That sounds fun.
Let's talk for a minute about sex.
Yeah.
What advice would you give? Like when it comes to sex in a marriage, it just feels like the thing nobody talks about, but everybody wants help with.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, of course, I'm not in the rooms. I'm not sharing a bed with anybody. And I'm not in the rooms where married people are talking about sex without a single person in the room, or I wouldn't be there, right?
Yeah.
But when I do hear my married friends talk about it, it always kind of like, how much are you doing it? Like everybody wants to know if there's rules that they aren't hitting, or if there's things they're not doing that everybody else is doing. And so what advice would you give to married couples around sex?
Yeah. I would start that our sexual relationship mirrors and follows the level of our intimacy and connection. So if I feel completely safe to tell him anything and he receives that wholeheartedly, and I feel safe and seen and soothed and secure, then I want to have sex. Like that's just like the natural byproduct of going like, he cherishes me, I admire him, I respect him, I feel, in some ways held by him, like even as a wife, then that's so attractive because he's strong, but also nurturing, all those things. But if like we've been going down the road and he's on his phone and like, he's distracted and then I start to say something and kind of interrupts me or whatever. I'm like, it's not even intentional, but I feel like, okay, like we're not going to be like, oh, I can't wait for tonight,
Right.
So it's more, it always kind of, to me, for women, can follow just how much we feel like our husbands have been attuned to us or have time to pause and like just get in our world a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can speak for men, like
Yeah.
what makes you want to have sex.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I came into marriage with the transactional view of marriage, thinking, well, number one, that we'd be having sex all the time, that this was just part of getting married. That
is what
huge.
I think.
I know.
By the way,
but Annie,
just let it be recorded.
Listen.
That is what I think. That is my plan.
Well, you might have a very happy husband because I think 1% of the time maybe you're having sex in your marriage.
Yeah, because 50% would be like a 12-hour day.
Yeah, right.
So I just think I had to change my thought about that. Number one, Rebekah and I have a great sex life. And I think what's awesome about it, the frequency's consistent.
Has that always been true most of the years?
I would say it has always been consistent. It hasn't always been as healthy.
Got it. That's a good
whether it's my insecurities or his insecurities or just expectations or pressures. There's seasons where I was like, I know this means a lot to him. I could give a crap. Yeah. And that's not good.
Yeah.
But when we both desire it and we both are like completely wanting it and feel close emotionally, that's been
But
the best.
we do describe in the book, kind of the data on this, that because there's this thing called sexless marriages now, where people are married. I had a young friend in their 20s, got married recently. They're having sex once a month, and he was talking to me because there's no one else to talk to, and I'm like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like this is part of the rhythm.
That does not seem
of
like
your
a
marriage
lot to me. That doesn't seem like a healthy.
And the average is, I think it's 2 times a week in your 40s. I mean, so it's like people are having regular sex. You should be, because that's a deep connection point, especially for men. They do feel more connected. I find when we have sex, I'm going to feel more open. I'm going to feel emotionally more connected following sex. Whereas for Rebekah, she needs to feel that before we have sex. So it's just this interesting way God's designed us to where there's tension. It's going to take both of us understanding one another, preferring one another, caring for one another's needs, and then it becomes more natural. It's true, though. It's hard for people to talk about this, right? Because it's such a private thing. So therefore, there's nowhere to go for resources.
Yeah, it's like naked.
Or to know,
it's
what
all
are
the
you
way
doing?
personal. Yeah.
So we thought we'd just share a little more about our world and how we've had to walk through that journey together. In hopes of encouraging couples to, again, it's another one of those areas of tension that talk about it. We were with a couple recently that they've been married 30 years. They have 7 children. They read our book and they said, honestly, we've never really talked about sex.
Wow.
I mean, they have it.
They sorted it out
Yes,
at
we
least
have
7
sex.
times. Yeah.
And you don't want to overanalyze it. Like,
Right,
let's
right.
talk. We don't. But they were going, this has actually been really good for us.
Yes.
We're finally just leveling with one another about some of the things we feel about sex. Some of the times we have sex, we don't really want to have sex. What each other desires. I think of sex as play almost. I mean, which is kind of a that sounds fun, right?
Yeah,
It's like sex is like play for couples.
Yeah.
Like that's fun. It's recreation.
Yeah.
Rebekah's dying. She's like, why are you saying
the
this?
workout.
I love
But
that.
it should be fun. It
Yeah.
should be this enjoyable experience for each of you.
Either of you, will you kind of give some hope and some excitement? There's a lot of language for unmarried people about why not to have sex before you're married. Like, don't do it. Don't do if you're especially in the Christian only in the Christian community. That's probably very little abstinence talk right now in mainstream community, except there is some of but what's the gift? Like, what's the reason to, if you are right now, and there's no shame in this, but if you are right now in a dating relationship or hoping to be in a dating relationship and you're not having sex, what's the reason that is full of joy and fun to wait?
Well, I would just say if you're old enough to get married and you're dating and you're not having sex, then get married. Like, I think a big motivation to get married is like God calls, like, this is a sacred thing. Why? Because it's exclusive between the two of you. It's covenanted. It's not just a transactional thing anymore. There's a commitment for life that your husband's going to lay down his life for you, right? That's different. So having sex with some guy that's like, hey, I'm in and out of this relationship. We may live together. We may not make it past 6 months. God just sees that kind of intimacy and union so huge because it procreates, right? So huge that the privilege and the gift of that comes with a lifelong commitment to like lay down your life for that woman and those children. So men are often going like, I would rather just kind of play the field because I want to act like a boy with the perks of being a man.
Yes.
And the perks of being a man mean like you're a warrior, right? You go to battle for your people, and your wife and your kids will feel that protection. They will feel that loyalty. They will feel that commitment and covenant. And it will give your kids a view of sex that and marriage that goes like, this isn't casual. Yeah, this is sacred. Yeah. And I know we say it because I'm 50 and I've been having sex, so it's like easy for you to say, but there is a cheapening of sex, I think, that happens in the single community that keeps it at a transactional place. It's just for the orgasm, and there isn't a real like going, wait, like there's a person on the other side of this that I want to look in the eyes and go like, I want to walk through life with you. Yes. And I want to be there for you in sickness and like with a cancer diagnosis or a child like that runs from home or that struggles. Like it's so much bigger than sex. Mm-hmm. But sex is this beautiful union that God still uses to kind of keep us so close and tethered to one another. Yeah. And I think all of our marriage becomes an expression of something sexual, but far greater.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I always am like, oh, let's talk about the hope side. Let's not give the rules side, like the hope side of sexual purity is for us.
Well, and sex is better when you've only had sex with one person. You're not comparing experiences with other people or hoping they live up to this or that. You've got this beautiful opportunity to just get to know one person.
I mean, I think that's one of the problems with pornography.
I was about to go there.
Is that you see, whether you've slept with one person, no people, or 12 people, but if you've seen it, that has adjusted your expectation of what was going to happen between you and your spouse whenever you do get married. So, for all of our friends that have had sex outside of marriage or have seen pornography, I mean, I don't know many people who haven't seen pornography or read a book or
been exposed to something, whether or not they wanted it.
That's right. That's right. There is just this beautiful, like, God rewrites all those stories for you, and it makes it part of what you get to tell and who you are. And we get to make a choice starting right this second while you're listening to what is it going to look like for me to be a person who pursues sexual purity until, even in marriage, y'all have to have sexual purity. You aren't sleeping with other people. 100%. That's not just a single person thing.
Or let's just talk porn and marriage, right? So porn is still designed to be what you can take from somebody, and a physical sexual union in a marriage is what you give. And so that's the transaction. Like if you're just taking for your gratification, whether you're on a screen or whether you're dating or whether you're even in marriage, and you're not honoring and cherishing the person on the other side, it's not just like the body parts, it's a human. Yeah. It's a fully beautiful human that God gave you. You have to give. Like it's supposed to be sacrificial. Yeah. And so I think if sex has been reduced to what, like animals, like what we take, and not in a human form of what we give, what we sacrifice, what we covenant and say, I'm not leaving, then we cheapen it all. So the caution even in marriage is like, my opinion is don't let porn enter that ever, because it's still a violation and objectification of whatever you're viewing and putting right next to the person who is a human that you have decided to raise a family with and grow old with. Yes. And it cheapens all of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's helpful. Thank you. And it's what you watch and what you read.
Yes, 100%. That imagination in reading, I was exposed at a young age, just like being a reader, going to the public library, reading like Victorian novels. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it'll find its way. And I was like, wait, I'd never heard of this before. Yes. So I think it's very important even with our kids to be aware of what they're reading, what they're writing. I mean, thankfully there's so many monitors you can put on it, but still they're going to be exposed to something. Yeah. And I think what we've learned even with kids and parenting is no topic is off limits on
You'll do that really well.
Anything you've been exposed to. Yeah. I don't care if you're 11 or 14 or 18 or even 23. Yeah. Whatever you're struggling with, like the more you get it into the light, God's going to heal it quickly. Right. If it stays in the dark and it stays in the secret, the enemy dwells in the secret.
Yeah, beautiful. Is there anything we didn't say that y'all want to make sure we say?
What do you think, babe? I know I start to go off about this
topic.
I love it. No, I love this.
It's great. This is the real stuff. I
think
so that people are trying to.
Right? Like, nobody, I don't know a single friend who said, I hope I have a bad marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody wants a wholehearted marriage. If you want to be married, everybody wants a wholehearted marriage.
Yeah.
And so what a gift.
I guess my only thought is to anyone listening that feels like their marriage just is not where they wanted it to be, and I think it's probably a lot of people, is that they personally can take the step. If their spouse does nothing, they can be proactive to change one piece of the equation, which is them, and how they're going to approach their spouse, the work they're going to do to better understand their story. Even with the book, we give all these conversations for couples to
it's
try
so
to
helpful.
stir a conversation that maybe from the third party we can bring it up that they wouldn't have brought up, but just to get the conversation going again, because usually that dormancy is what will lead to you becoming roommates. It will lead to further disunity. And we just want to see couples take the risk to jump back in and to believe again that this could be better.
Yeah.
And if one person changes like dramatically, the other person will notice. It will get their attention, and best case scenario, they'll be drawn and attracted to that.
Yeah.
And that will be contagious.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, you know what we get to ask you last? Because the show is called That Sounds Fun. Gabe and Rebekah, tell me what sounds fun to you. Gabe, you go first.
So what sounds fun is tomorrow night.
Yes.
It's been 2 decades since Rebekah and I went to our first Coldplay concert in
Oh, no
Atlanta.
way.
The Yellow
yes.
Tour.
Yes.
And tomorrow night, they're back in Nashville.
Y'all,
and
have
we're
y'all
going.
seen them in between?
No.
No, not
Oh
since
my
our
gosh,
30s.
it's literally been
been
20
2 decades.
years
Yes.
since you've
So-
seen them.
Yes.
So we're
Yes.
excited. We've been looking forward to that for a while.
Oh, my
and it's going to be
goodness.
a great summer date night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the show at Nissan? Is it outside?
Yeah, outside.
It's
But
going to
we're
be
on the
open.
field. We're going to be
Oh,
close.
yeah, we're down
Oh,
close.
it's great.
Chris Martin, I mean, the guy's
Right.
great.
I know.
Are y'all going with friends or just two of y'all?
Just
Nope,
us.
just us.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We
Yeah.
thought about taking the kids, and they were like, it's too expensive.
No.
Yeah, you're like, sorry, y'all
We're
get
like,
tickets.
but when you guys turn 50, you can take each other.
yeah, that's exactly right. Rebekah, what sounds fun to you?
This whole summer, honestly, has been so fun.
Yeah.
Just slowing down, pool time, vacations with the kids, going to the lake.
Yeah.
It's like a different lane, and it's
Yeah.
like downshifting. And I've been so happy. I do hum a lot. The kids always say I'm
Yeah.
humming all the time.
Yeah.
Gardening is also kind of my favorite fun thing, my fun summer rhythm. So getting outside as much as humanly possible.
That's
Yeah.
true. This girl likes to walk, and
Yes.
if it's
Where
the
do you
sun
walk?
is
You walk
up,
on your street?
Oh yeah. So
There's
you know
no sidewalk.
Well, above us, like the Bethkes live
Yeah,
right there, and that's
yeah.
like a private road. So we'll just walk.
Oh,
we'll walk
got
all
it.
the time, and the
Okay,
kids will
great.
get on their bikes, and then we'll land on their porch or
Yeah.
something else. So,
love it.
yeah, we're always and we have a trail, so we
Yeah.
hike
or we'll
that
drive
too.
places to walk.
We do.
Rebekah
Yeah,
just
yeah.
likes to walk.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I'll walk. Exactly.
I love being outside. Get
but
me
you got to
outside.
watch those ticks.
Yeah.
Summer is no
Listen,
joke.
no
That is no
joke.
joke for ticks.
Well, thank y'all for doing this. And thank you for this book. I just finished it and felt so excited and so hopeful. I just loved it. So
Thank you,
thank y'all for
Annie.
writing it. I
Thank
think it's
you.
going to serve so many of us. So thank y'all for this.
Thank you, friend. Love you.
Oh, you guys, aren't they the best? Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for their wisdom. Y'all are going to love this book. Whether you are married or hoping to get married, this is I just learned so much. So make sure you grab your copy of The Fight for Us. Go follow Gabe and Rebekah on social media. Tell them thanks so much for being on this show with us. If you enjoyed this episode as we talk about the different seasons of marriage, I think you'll also really love our couples series. We did it in 2019, 2020, and 2021. We interviewed couples every February, some married, some business partners, even some podcast hosts that work together. That would be a fun series to revisit this summer while you are road tripping or sitting by the pool. We'll actually link those for you in the show notes. If you have any questions from this episode, you can drop them in the Q&A box on your Spotify app if you're a Spotify listener like me, or send them to us on Instagram at That Sounds Fun Podcast. We'll try to answer them for you there. If you need anything else from me, you know I'm embarrassingly easy to find. Annie F. Downs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Anywhere you need me, that's where you can find me. I am back and rested and happy to be here. I think that's it for me today, though, friends. Go out or stay home, do something that sounds fun to you, and I will do the same. Today, what sounds fun to me? You know what really sounds fun to me? Catching up with my buddy, Eddie Kaufholz. I might send him a little text today. I have not talked to him in a few days, so I'm going to call Eddie. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you back here on Monday with one of our favorite pastors around here, a staple at That Sounds Fun, a king of the Hall of Fun. It's our friend, John Mark Comer. We'll see y'all next week.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Check 1, 2 on the microphone. Annie F. Downs in your car to your home. Every week it's something new. A deep talk or an interview. She'll make you laugh, she'll make you cry. When it's dark out, she's the light.